Hey loves, this is your relationship coach Jay now, and welcome to another episode of Response and React, where we see what celebrities are doing and we break it down in real world terms about our own dating and relationships. So this episode is of the curious case of Deion Sanders and Karrueche Tran. This pairing has the internet side-eyeing, whispering, and dead-ass observing, not because it's wrong, but because it is fascinating. In that modern dating grown folk, real life stakes are different. When a 37-year-old woman with no kids who openly wants marriage and a family is partnering with a 57-year-old multimillionaire legend with multiple marriages, grown children, and a medical resume longer than a CVS receipt. It's giving grown decisions require grown discernment, and that's exactly why we're here. Remember, we're breaking it down from a relationship coaching lens and not a shade room lens because this isn't gossip. It's about patterns, power, protection, and the real implications of choosing a partner with a 20-year head start on in life and a few health battles under his belt. So let's jump into it.
The people want me to talk about this Karrueche and Deion Sanders relationship. She's 37, he's 57. At this point, the age range don't bother me. They're both celebrities. I think that the only thing that sits with me is he ain't put enough work for you to see him through a cancer battle, niece. Unless y'all been together for like 10 years and ain't nobody know. But I thought he was with Babyface's ex-wife, and I don't like denoting who women are based on who they're with, unless he I think he was recently married or engaged to Tracy. I think she kept her last name as Edmonds. That's all I really have. I don't think he's put enough work. You need to make a man work to see a man through an illness. You need to be married to him to see him through an illness. Because if a man could be married to you and he won't see you through a stubbed toe. These niggas barely stick around while somebody goes through birthing their seed. That's about all I got. At least have power of attorney or something. He got too many kids, and he love it, and he has a type. If she don't look like Pilar and Tracy, I don't know. That's a thing. But other than that, yeah. I hope he's put in a great deal of time to see him through. Like, I hope he's well. God bless him, because y'all will try to twist some shit I'm saying. Want him to be well. Hope he's healthy and all of that. Being a bed nurse and you sitting there by the bedside and asking the doctor questions, y'all ain't married. If something was to happen to him right there on that table, they would have to call his next of kin, and that would not be you on the other side. That's my biggest thing. To my nieces out there, don't give a nigga that type of energy. And he hasn't put in the time. That the taking out of the bank, and not the financial bank, but the taking out of the proverbial bank of emotions and life and support that a man would have to put in before he can make that withdrawal has to be severe. And at minimum, there needs to be a ring connected to it. Yeah, that's all I got. God bless everybody.
Finding out that Deion Sanders has bladder cancer from seeing Karrueche crying about it was not on my bingo card this year. We have a lot of things to unpack about this. First off, it's like a 20-year age gap, but she's 37. Me personally, once a woman is like 35, I don't care how old you go for dating. Your brain is fully developed. You got plenty of life experience behind you that whatever you get into moving forward, child, that is 100% on you. So anything for me, 35 plus in a woman with an age gap relationship when the man is older, in my opinion, do you, boo. Do what you got to do. So to me, that's kind of low-hanging fruit. Now, what I will say, though, is that because of the age gap being so significant, he has more energy to siphon from her because of the age gap. Okay, the younger you are, the more energy they have to siphon. If there's women out there that probably thought that shit was so cute and so heartfelt to see Karrueche be there for Deion Sanders. And guess what? If you're one of those women, I got to tell you something. That is not going to be your outcome if something like cancer happens to you. Matter of fact, it's statistically proven that men are 7 times more likely to leave their spouse when they have been diagnosed with a terminal illness. Now, obviously, Deion Sanders has recovered from this cancer. They cut out part of his intestine. He has to wear Depends because he cannot, his bladder cannot function. He doesn't have control over his bladder. So he was able to recover. But don't think for one second that beautiful love story that they try to curate between Karrueche and Deion is going to happen in reverse with you as a woman with a man by your side. In most cases, a man is leaving your ass, okay? So let's just get that out the way, for any women that's still in fantasy land, okay? Now, if you made it this far, it's time to get to the good stuff. In order for a man to continue on and keep living his life as he gets into old age, he must have a woman's energy to siphon. In return, a woman is going to age quicker, die sooner, lose her youthful energy, lose her looks. And if you haven't noticed, Karrueche, she's a beautiful woman, okay? That woman has plenty of energy that Deion can use to siphon. And I don't know if that was a PR stunt, because another thing about it too is that we're talking about Deion Sanders. We're talking about Deion Sanders that was with Pilar. That was with Tracy Edmonds. Certified baddies. The last thing that Deion Sanders can do for his image and for his career is to be battling something like bladder cancer alone. All right? Especially with him being a retired athlete. The last thing that man can do is go through some shit like this alone. He gotta have a woman beside him for the image, and he gotta have a bad woman beside him for the image. Because we already know, if you've been following me long enough, we already know that masculinity is performative and it's all about the ego. These men gotta perform, they gotta have on the right image, especially when they have reached a level of notoriety like he has. So I don't know if this is for PR purposes or if this is for real. But if this is for real, and Karrueche is actually taking this seriously, her looks are finna fade. And I hope them checks is rolling in. I hope that she's getting compensated monetarily for the level of energy that she is having be siphoned from her, because she's about to lose her looks very quickly. She's about to lose her essence quick, fast, and in a hurry if she continues to deal with this man and if this is for real. And in my opinion, from what it looked like, I didn't hear wife nowhere. So like, are you a beneficiary? Are you in the will? Are you on a deed? If your name is not legally printed on something to be receiving something from all of this, what are you doing? Okay, I know the economy's bad. I know Instagram is losing a lot of favor. I understand that we are recycling, new Instagram baddies, constantly. And we got a new genre of what's hot and the body, all this stuff changing. I get that, but there's 1,001 things that you can do besides laying up with an old ass man while he's going through these struggles. Because guess what? He's a man. He could go through that shit alone. But if he goes through that shit alone, he gonna die sooner. He gonna age faster. He gonna croak quicker. Okay? In order for men to live long, they have to have a woman's energy to siphon. Even statistics show this. Married men live longer, happier, they make more money. So Deion has no choice but to have a woman in his corner to siphon energy from, because they're fucking energy vampires. They have to extract energy from the female to be able to live on. They are real life vampires in the flesh. And as they get older, they become more and more unstable and more insatiable. That's the reason why usually a creepy man is usually associated with old. It's usually creepy old man, because they're losing their own essence as they get older. And in order for them to survive, their survival is dependent on extracting energy from a woman. Then as she gets older, she will die sooner. She will lose her looks. She will lose her beauty and her essence because it's being used to feed this man. Karrueche girl, I'm telling you, don't fucking do this. Don't fucking do this. It's not worth it. It's 1,000 ways that you could be out here to get money. I know you got connections. I know you got people that can help you in some form or fashion. I know it's a Tubi movie waiting for you, girl. It's got to be some other way for you to be able to make money and come up on some money than to be a fucking extraction tool for this old ass man when you have so much youth and beauty still at 37. Because for 37, she looks damn good. Okay? And this is what I'm saying. I look at women like Maya who are older, because I think Maya's 40. Listen, Maya still looks good because she ain't got no man extracting her energy. Tracy Ellis Ross, they still look good because they ain't got no man extracting their energy. The world is showing you what women look like when they stay single and unbothered and they don't have a man taking all their life force energy versus the ones that do and then have nothing to show for it. Like, come on, Karrueche. Let's say that he didn't make it out that surgery. Would you get any compensation for sticking it out with him during his treatments? If he croaked on that table on surgery day, would there be anything that would be deposited to your account? No. It's going to go to next of kin. It's going to go to his children. That shit ain't going to you. So why are you there? That level of care and support, this man is pissing in Depends. You gotta be next to him and smell pissy ass Depends. At what cost? At the cost of your energy? At the cost of your youth and your beauty? I work in healthcare. Best believe I'm getting paid to be next to somebody that's pissing their Depends diapers every time and in every lifetime. I'm getting paid, baby. Love will never be enough for me to stay with someone while they're sick and dying. Protect your youth, protect your energy. Stay safe.
Was anybody else other than me in a state of confusion when we saw Karrueche posted up in that video with Deion Sanders? Listen, I was in confusion. Confusion was in me because when did this happen? Listen, I don't even know what she was saying in that video because I was just confused as to who I was seeing in the same room with each other because it didn't make sense to me because when did this happen? Like, did I jump timelines? Like, this is an odd time to want to pop out with somebody. Like, are they dating? Like, I don't even know. Like, it was just so odd. Like, that's a weird way to want to pop out with somebody. A speedy recovery to Deion Sanders. Like, I hope he gets through what he's going through. But I was just utterly confused when I saw the video because I was like, Karrueche? Like I was saying, that is an odd way to want to pop out with somebody because, girl,
This is the hardest of the hard launches I have ever witnessed. Bezami Karrueche, lap kriye, lap rele.
He is having his bladder removed.
The man has a missing bladder. The man has missing toes. The man has half of his intestine missing parce que kounya yo pa fon lot bladder avec intestine la. We are battling. Bladder, we are battling. Karrueche done turned into a French woman. We. Prayers out to Deion Sanders. Very happy to know that he beat cancer. But sister, sa, m'pa capable. Sa, li pa bon. It's no good. I don't understand walking into a new relationship where now we gotta worry about bladder bags and missing toes and all that. No, that's too much for a new relationship. Keyword, new relationship. Deion Sanders has been battling a lot of health issues from when he was with Tracy Edmonds. Deion Sanders was with Tracy Edmonds for 12 long years. 4 of those years, they were engaged. Li pa marié fia. And mind you, this man was in his mid-40s playing like that. Playing with that lady time like that. Karrueche, sister, tandem. Et puis tandem bien. Doing that for a new relationship, you came into this relationship as a nurse. I'm sorry.
Jesse, VVS. I just turn the water on. Big old flex.
Let's jump into my favorite part of all of the content I post on YouTube. And that's just my thoughts, where I get to kind of express what I feel about whatever we have read or gone over. So let's get into it. All right. I wanted to talk about this one for a while because I kind of thought it was a flash in the pan when I first saw it, and maybe just the publicity stunt. It could be, but I think it's a little deeper than that. And you'll notice some of the TikTok clips are from when the incident happened in July. There's a reason for that because I just wanted to give this one time to kind of sit and simmer. So, quick background on both of them. So, in about July, August, there was a health scare that the absolute legendary football player, athlete, all around entertainer Deion Sanders had, where he had bladder cancer, I believe it was. And Karrueche Tran, she is an entertainment actress, and she is best known for being the former girlfriend of Chris Brown. Was like in this tearful video saying she was praying for him, and then she panned the camera over and he's sitting right next to her. So of course fans of his were, wishing him well, but I think there was a lot of like, okay, what is this that kind of came out of that. And it was very interesting because I said, he doesn't seem like the type of guy to me to be in a relationship for publicity. He doesn't need publicity. He is his own sun. He lights up a room. To me, he is the baddie of the relationship. Like, that is the energy he gives. But seeing them, I said, okay, maybe whatever. But as the months have gone on, I am starting to think that this is like really what they want to do. So, quick backstory on both. So, Karrueche Tran, beautiful young lady. She is an actress. She has done more TV acting. I don't know if she's done too much movie acting. She is 37 years old, and I think it throws people off because she does still look very young. But she's grown. She's at a big age, okay? And she dated Chris Brown. He went and I believe got someone pregnant with his first child. And that she said she learned about it when everybody else did on TMZ. That, broke up. Of course, he is a very, R&B singer, but very scandalous, known for being very problematic, violent, etc. And then she has had subsequent relationships. She dated an NFL player. I think she dated somebody else in entertainment, woo. But those relationships ended for one reason or another. Now, we have Deion Sanders. Deion Sanders is an NFL legend, but he's also just a professional athlete legend. He is one of the few professional athletes that played two professional sports at the same time. I believe Bo Jackson was the other one who did this. For those of you who like sports, you know what you know. You know what I'm talking about. And he even dabbled his toe in a little bit of music. Must Be the Money. If YouTube the video, it is hilarious. It is when he was at his prime. He had to be in his like early 20s, and the curl was curling, is all I'm saying. So he is a 57-year-old absolute living legend. He is most known now, I think, by younger generations, like the Gen Z folks, for being a college coach. And he has two sons that went pro. He has other children as well, and just coached at Jackson State, and then he went to a different university, and he has a lot of media around that, good, bad, and indifferent. So people know who Deion Sanders is. If you remember him from his playing days, if you remember when he got into the commentary, if you remember him from his reality show days with his ex-wife Pilar down in Texas, if you remember him now in this phase of life. So he has made his name known in different phases of his iteration in his career, etc. But he, like I said, he is the baddie in a relationship. He is a very dynamic individual from what I've observed. And it kind of struck people as odd when someone like Karrueche Tran was dating him. Now, like I said, they look like they have a greater age gap than 20 years because she does look very young. But there is a 20-year age gap, but they're grown. Everybody's grown here. So that is the one thing people have to consider when they're dating older. So I want to pivot and really look at this from a relationship coach lens when I work with my clients. Considering dating a man where there is that big of an age gap is very important to really look at the things. Number one, he is a legend. He is very famous. He was famous before she was born. Okay. Well, not before she was born, but very soon after she was born. Let's put it that way. And if that's something she's comfortable with, I think that won't be as big of an issue for her because she's dated a superstar before. She didn't date Deion Sanders before, but she dated Chris Brown, who was the superstar in their relationship and is to the public. So that, I don't think that that is going to cause a problem for her. If you're dating a man who's very successful and has had almost as long as you've been alive to work and be famous, you have to consider if that's going to be a sticking point for you. A big thing for her to consider is his health issues. If you are going to date older, you need to look at someone's health issues. He just had the bladder cancer episode or issue happen in July. And prior to that, I think he had 2 toes amputated earlier this year or late last year. And of course, being a pro athlete who is retired, who operated at the top of his game, especially playing 2 sports, I believe it was football and baseball he played on a professional level, that the amount of damage basically he did to his body through training and conditioning, that is probably all coming up now in his older age. Now, that's not everybody's situation, but that 20-year age gap, that is something to consider. He is likely going to experience health issues much sooner than you are, right? And you have to really be mindful of the time it's going to take and the time you're going to have to invest in his care. Now, someone like Deion Sanders, he has the money and the resources to make sure he's getting the best of the best care. But that's not everybody's case. But I would really hope if you're dating older, especially somebody that much older, he has a lot to show for the years he was walking this earth and had time to work before, you came onto this earth. Like that's very important. Do not date older and he has nothing. That makes no sense. So make sure you are very serious in understanding the state of his health when you meet, and then what he has the potential to develop, or what he has a proclivity for, a predisposition for because of his own, activities such as Deion Sanders. A lot of this is probably coming as a result of him being an athlete and having to put his body through those type of paces and that type of rigor for so long. But a regular person, what if they have a predisposition to certain diseases in their family? That's something for you to consider. The next thing that's very important is he has grown kids. His oldest child, her name is DeAndrea, and I'll do a little segue about her. She is about 33 years old. So if Karrueche and Deion get serious, she has to understand her husband's oldest child is only like 4 years younger than her. That's a little weird to me, but to each his own. And how is she going to go about developing at least a rapport, maybe not a strong relationship, but at least a rapport, a positive rapport with his children, especially since they're closer to people, especially her oldest daughter, to like being her friend than a stepchild. You know what I mean? That is a big thing to consider. And then also Deion is a grandfather. DeAndrea has a child by the R&B singer Jaquez, and she has her drama with that. And that's another layer. Not only would Karrueche be wanting to, if they take the route of, marriage and kids, wanting to have kids, he's going to have grandkids older than his youngest kids. Now, I've seen that before. I think many of us have seen these situations before, but these are all factors Karrueche has to consider in what she wants. Now, those all seem like heavy things, but I want to switch it and say, what are some of the positives to dating a man who is that much older than you? Now, I get it. As somebody who is very close to Karrueche's age, a couple years older, I totally understand why she would date a man like Deion Sanders. He was born and raised in a different era. He has a different understanding and respect for work and women. And this is what I mean. Far too many women out here today are experiencing grown men asking them what they bring to the table. They want to go 50-50 on first dates. These men were never shown how to be gentlemen. They either didn't have a dad at home, or they had a dad at home and they just got pulled into this red pill incel right wing bullshit, and it has completely scrambled their brains. A man like Deion Sanders, my perception, I don't know these people, this is just my perception, just because of his age, and I have, uncles and things like that and cousins that age, the way they operate with women is completely different. They know how to be gentlemen. They know how to hold doors for people. When they ask a woman out, they have every intention of wining and dining that woman and making sure she is very aware and very clear. I'm interested in you and I'm going to consistently pursue you, not chase you. Okay, that's predatory. I'm going to pursue you. That's what a gentleman does. And experiencing that, if you've never experienced that before, which Karrueche may not have, just because of the men she's dated, the ages of the men she's dated, and, just modern dating foolishness right here. She may not have experienced that before. It is very intoxicating. He presents as very masculine. Deion Sanders is, to me, is not the type of man who's asking somebody to pay half the bills. You know what I mean? If he's in the house, he is paying for everything. Like those tenets of manhood that women still desire a man to have, he more than likely, I would put money on it, possesses those and walks in that. Just from the way he presents, you know he is very proud of his sons. He's a very involved parent in his lives. That's also very attractive. His children want to be around him and they're grown. Now, I do believe he spent more time being present in the lives of his sons because he saw himself in them and he wanted them to achieve greatness in terms of football than he did his daughter, because it's DeAndrea, to me, for her age, feels that she just didn't get some of that attention that she should have, that positive fatherly attention she should have received during her formative years. And maybe that's why she's in the, Twitter thugging, going back and forth with Jaquez and, had a child ban, because she's a Nepo baby. Like, she could have done anything. And having a baby by an R&B singer is a little wild to me, but to each his own. So I can understand why Karrueche can easily see herself partnered with someone like Deion Sanders, because he represents and walks in, from my perception and observation, the tenets that women want and are desirous of in a partner. And that is very hard to find in men under a certain age, right? Because he is older and he's very successful. But let me know your thoughts on it. If you would ever consider dating someone 20 years your senior, and what factors, if you have done it, what did you consider? Or if you haven't done it but would be open to it, what are some of the things you want to take into account? At the end of the day, this situation isn't about judging Karrueche or Deion. It's about understanding the real math behind love, legacy, and lifestyle, and long-term partnership. Because dating at 37 hits different. Choosing a man with health concerns hits different. Aligning with someone who's had multiple marriage and adult children hits different. And if you're not asking the right questions, you can wake up inside a life that you never intended to live, and that just doesn't make you happy. You just kind of drifted into it. So take this story as a case study, not necessarily a cautionary tale. You deserve a relationship where your future feels protected, your heart feels considered, and your needs don't get lost in someone else's history. And if you want help building that discernment muscle, if you want to learn how to slow down, assess, question, and choose like a woman who knows she is the prize, come join me on Coffee. That's where we break these patterns down with clarity, strategy, and a little bit of spiritual common sense.